everybody the opportunity to speak their voice.
Everyone, I'm going to answer a question for you on how to sit on your mat if you have generous thighs. This is a question from my Instagram. So thanks for joining me. I will be using all of these props today: my meditation cushion, a block, and a bolster. These are just some of my favorite props to use. Now, I have generous thighs, as you can see, and I'm going to start with one of my first poses or first ways that I come to seated. Now, you don't always have to sit in cross-legged position in yoga. So I am bringing my knees together. My knees won't touch because I have powerful thighs. And so now I'm bringing a block or two underneath my sit bones. So I have two cork blocks. They're standardized. I'm moving the flesh away from my sit bones by doing a manual inner spiral of the thigh and moving the butt back. So this feels really comfortable because I'm supported by the blocks and there's not a lot of pressure in my knees. So that's an option if sitting cross-legged is not great for you. Another option is to use a meditation cushion or a bolster, especially if you have a really bendy low back. So I'm going to remove these blocks. When I use the blocks, they're just ordinary cork blocks. I like cork blocks because they're stable. Sometimes I'll stack them one on top of the other, or sometimes side by side, or on their flat side. So you get to choose how you want to adjust it. So using my meditation cushion, I'm going to just sit so that my bottom is elevated and come into easy cross-legged position. Once again, I do a manual inner spiral of my thighs to move the flesh back and wide. And sometimes I just have my ankles like stacked in Siddhasana so that my heels are side by side. You can also sit and have your ankles kind of support your knees or use blocks to support your knees. I also prefer to have the Siddhasana, to have the ankles kind of stacked and to make sure my hips are higher than my knees, or I come to Baddha Konasana or cobbler's pose, which is sole of the feet together. So it's not required and necessary to be in a cross-legged pose, but sometimes using these props can help you get more comfortable in the pose, especially if you have a really curvy low back. So I'm going to show you the rest of my practice. I just got off my bike. So I'm going to take a little hamstring stretch here, flexing my foot, holding the back of my right thigh. And then I always like to set my timer because I will keep you here all day. And I like to keep these as bite-sized snacks. So bringing my hands behind my head, lifting the head up nice and high so the chest is lifting to the ceiling, pressing down through the low back. Let's do leg lifts. I'm going to ask you to do 8 on your own. You can even do 4 if it feels better. And then cross your right ankle over your left knee. And let's take a cross. So now we're crossing the left shoulder toward the right knee. Do 4, 6, or 8 of these, or how many you find interesting. Then plant your feet and make sure that low back is pressed into the mat. You're pulling your belly in nice and tight. And now let's take the left leg up and we're going to lift and lower for 4, 6, or 8, whatever feels interesting. So the upper back is lifted, pressing the lower tips of the shoulder blades into the mat. And now cross that left ankle over the right knee and allow yourself to cross your right shoulder over to your left knee. So we're doing a little bit of oblique work here. I'm a big fan of doing core work and I do it a lot. Now we'll try taking the toes up to the ceiling. We're going to bend the knees and rock side to side. Now I'm going to lift my head and my heart, press your low back into the floor, and then we'll do a single leg stretch. I am cradling each knee just to kind of guide it because sometimes my knees will collapse in on each other. So we're pushing out through the toes or the heels and lifting the head and the heart. Now, if your head up is too much, you can always place a block underneath your head. Now, releasing your head down, pressing your low back into the mat. Let's do the corkscrew. So we're circling the legs to the right. And then when you're ready, you can circle to the left. And I usually do between 8 and 16 of these. I really feel it engage my back in a good way and the lower part of my abdominal wall. Now we're going to plant the feet on the floor and do some what I call bridge squeezes. So pushing down into the upper back, into the head, and lifting and lowering the hips, squeezing the glutes as you come up, pressing into the floor, and do about 8 or 10. And now I'm going to move into foam rolling. And I just realized I forgot my foam roller. So I'm going to get my foam roller. I feel like I should name it. But I do use my foam roller often because I find it's really helpful in rolling out my IT band. So I'm coming onto my right side, planting my left foot over top. I'm going to reach my arm up to the sky and maybe take a little stretch of reaching my arms back behind me. So now bringing that left knee into the chest, holding on at the outer edge of the left foot and stretching the leg out. So because we've done a little bit of a hamstring stretch in our previous movement, I'm using that here now. And now coming on to my right forearm, I'm going to allow that foam roller to foam from the top of my hip by my waistband all the way down, if I can, to almost to my knee. And what I do when I'm doing this rolling is I notice where I'm feeling a sore spot or sensation, and then I pause there because that's probably where it's really tight. So now I'm playing with a side plank variation, trying to hold myself on the foam roller, and then just for fun, lifting that top leg. If you want to add a little bit more intensity, you can just hang out here with your legs together. I do that because it gives me a little bit of a distraction from the sensation, because the sensation can be a lot. So take a break if you need to. Now I'm going to roll out the back of my hamstring right up to my gluteal fold, which is where the glute meets the leg. And so that's the bottom half of your bottom. I'm going to do both legs here just because it feels good. Feel free to roll up, all the way onto the glutes to the low back if that feels good. I've only got about 10 minutes, so this is like a really abbreviated version of my workout. So now coming on to the other side, I've decided to take my foot to the back. I'm going to roll back and forth. So I'm kind of doing this a little bit backwards this time. So we're rolling out that IT band. I want to get the hard stuff out of the way. I find bringing my knee into the chest a little bit easier. So now, again, finding that sweet spot. You can tell by my face, it's not really a sweet spot. Yeah, exactly. It's a sore spot, but I need to really press into that. It's a little bit of a pressure point, stretching the arm behind me. And now I'm going to bring the knee into the chest, stretch the leg out, and you'll notice that this leg isn't quite as flexible as the other one, and that's okay. The sides of your body aren't necessarily symmetrical. Things are a little bit different on both sides. And now I'll do that leg lift. And again, the leg lift is a distraction, because I'm not going to lie, this feels like a lot. Lifting and lowering the legs a lot, but I'm getting right into that tight spot along my IT band, which really helps with my running and my cycling and all the things. Now I'm going to come off the foam roller, bring my forearms to the foam roller, walk my knees back, and do a little bit of ab work. So I'm going to come all the way forward, push into the foam roller, pull it back toward the knees. And so I'm just rolling forward and back as we work through that abdominal practice. You can play with this. You can stay with this as long as you like, or you can come into holding a plank on top of the foam roller just as a way to create a little bit more instability and core work. This is something that you can absolutely do if it feels appropriate, but I always like to make my practice my own. So that's it for me.